Hello and welcome to another beautiful session of work. I'll be doing a mind map about triggers, about marketing triggers and credibility. To be more exact, I want to know exactly what builds credibility in the minds of others whenever you are speaking, whenever you are presenting, and what other credibilities can you build to elicit a certain response, because if you have a lot of credibility, people are just going to trust you and give you money. So we're going to see all the triggers that are present, and I'm going to do two sessions of 25 minutes with 2 minutes of break in between, and the timer starts now. And there you go. The first session is over. I've come to some interesting ideas and I've wrote them down. I have 2 minutes to explain some of the ideas. So, when it comes to credibility, we have objects, we have skills, and we have language and values as well. So, objects. When it comes to objects, we can go the route of objects of desire, cars, houses, whatever other people desire, we can, if we have those, we have more credibility. Like, for instance, people look at you differently whenever you have an expensive MacBook laptop. I've seen it in all kinds of areas of my life, even though it's not that expensive. If you have a bigger camera, people are, they think that you are more professional. Those are objects of competence and desire as well. But objects of competence are different. It's a different type of credibility. Objects of competence is proof of work, books, seminars, paintings, finished products, or projects. And then you have another thing that is more has more to do with other ideas like objects. For instance, medals. It's proof of competitive advantage. You are hiring the best of the best, let's say, or at least you are in the higher percentage. Then you have proof of demand. Public records of popularity and demand, projects or products. And this triggers assurance and confidence. And I'm going to talk a bit more after the 25-minute session. I'm going to put another timer of 25 minutes and going to continue the list. I would have had a bit more to talk about values, which is very, very important. And there you go. Beautiful, great mind map. I feel very happy about it. I don't really have a lot more to add, only to explore and expand, but I got the gist of it. It's amazing. And it's interesting. I'm not going to add this, but there are things that are triggers of credibility that are objects, and some of them are actions, the way you are. So, character. Basically, Sophie was touching a wire, so I was a bit scared. I talked a bit about objects, which is objects of desire, objects of competence, objects of. Do I have something else? No. Objects of desires, objects of competence, and metals. Yeah, and metals. I color coded them in purple. And you have other things like values, like proof of relationship, proof of demand, and terminology that are proof by action. These are proven by action. The other ones are proven by ownership. You have ownership of an object that is desirable, or you have proof of an object that is demonstrating your competence, like a medal or proof of work or proof of, or the actual object of your work, a project, something that is tangible. And the other things are intangibles, like values. If you have certain values, people will trust you more. Like if you demonstrate those values by your actions and your terminology, and those values align with their values, you will sell them more. But it doesn't have to be it needs to be, it can be at the first level, but usually if it's at the first level of behavior and speech, it's basically going to trigger. Did I start this? Yeah. No, I did not start the 2 minutes. I'm sorry. So, if you give it at the first level and you posture, you trigger this posture, you're like, oh, I believe in freedom and whatever. It's easy to say, but very difficult to act upon. So you have to demonstrate those values by doing things. Like, I don't know, let's say I believe that skills are the basis of your success. If you have certain skills, then you will be successful. And the better you are at these skills, the more successful you are. So let's say I want to prove that. I want to prove that value. How would I do that? I would just improve a skill and track the success that I have at the beginning when I have little knowledge and expertise in that skill, and then keep on proving that the more I get better at that skill, the more I get back. So the more successful I am. And you can build that through showing that the embodiment of that value is something worthwhile. And I've annotated some things here. Do hard things and what others fear in order to earn credibility. Like, if you do the hard things that people fear, it will trigger in them, oh, I want to be like that. It immediately signals it's a very hard thing to fake, because it's instantly comparison between them and you, and they are like, okay, I would just die if I was in that situation. So if you do that, you will build a lot of credibility and you will build this story. You don't always have to do the things yourself. You can use other people's success and associate with them either by being in proximity or by just talking about them. There are a lot of people who are very successful and very rich by just talking about others in that specific niche. Use stereotypes to your advantage. People have these certain beliefs about others. Like for instance, if you wear this cap, you're going to think this guy doesn't take himself too seriously. And ask yourself, do I want to project that stereotype out there? I have glasses. This guy might be smart. I have dog hair on my shirt. He doesn't look at the finer details and care about whatever. So you can see how stereotypes can be used to your advantage. Of course, you can even if you have, like, this is the value part, which is very, very, very important. It's one of the biggest things I've realized by making this mind map, which is, if you are in a bad situation where you don't have credibility, you don't have things, you don't have objects of credibility, you don't have objects of desire, you don't have proof for your competence, your whatever it is, you don't have proof of your success, you don't have proof for competence, then you can make that your selling point. You should buy from me because I am at the beginning. Because I'm at the beginning, that means I'm cheaper. You will never get cheaper than this because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to, because I'm also learning. You are taking a bit more risk, but you are also paying less. So that can be a great thing to use your position, the position you are in, and build a narrative around that. But you can also go the other way, which is if you are in the bad situation, that is a blessing because now you can build a narrative of relatability. Look how I've come out of that. I have all the proof needed to show you that I've done this even if I was in a bad situation. So I had $6 in my bank account. And now I'm 30% on a down payment for a house. So something like that. Always, if you want to really seem more successful than you are, and also feel more successful than you are, identify the position you are in. These are all values. These are intangible things, and they are proof by action. Identify the position, proof by action and by perspective. Identify the position you are in and make that the standard for competence, for credibility. If I say, look, I am very successful because I have all the freedom in the world to do whatever I want with my time. I'm not time constrained by anything or anyone. If I set that as a target, people will listen because especially people who are time constrained, constrained, and they want to get rid of their whatever job, whatever time constraint they have. So even though I'm not really, really rich, I have other things that are very important to others, which is knowledge about how to be free from time constraints, or free from having to perform, or free from doing things. Okay, so you set the rules that you want to be judged by. You say, this is the most important thing for me, being able to do whatever I want with my time. Okay, if that's your reality right now, then that's good. And the things that you want to build towards, you say, I'm in this situation. I don't have it, but I want it. And here is how I'm going to do it. And you build proof by your actions. And once you get that object of desire, object of competence, whatever, you write a book. Let's say the object of competence that you want to create is a book. How I wrote a book in 2 months. How I wrote my first book in 2 months without any prior knowledge of how to write books. So that's an interesting idea. You use your position. You are in the position where you don't have a book and you don't have credibility because you don't have published a book. You don't know how to write a book, but you are trying to do something impressive, which is write a book in 2 months. And people are going to be like, first of all, they're going to say, what is the book going to be about? If it's going to be just a mediocre book, people are going to be like, ah. But if it's built on the values that they see as important, like let's say, I don't know, a book about how to be more successful, people are going to be like, okay, but you don't have enough success because you've not written a book. And you go in to the book and explain that you've not written a book, but you have success in this category of life. And it goes back to that position that you are in and those things that you are rich in, like time. You can be rich in experience, you can be rich in bad situations. Let's say you are in the worst situation ever. That is a very rich thing you are in. Even negative things can be basically a store of value. Like if you are in a super bad situation, I've learned this story about this fighter who was working in a mine and then he just ran from that country because he was basically a slave from an early age, and then he escaped through the desert and then finally ended up in America, and then now he's a world renowned fighter and champion. So imagine that situation. Like having that as a story is much more impressive than becoming the world champion. That is a noteworthy, because it's about the road and the destination. So you've reached a very interesting destination. No matter what that guy did, even if he would have sold just the story, I was a slave and now I'm in America, even that was noteworthy because he escaped slavery and he has a perspective that we cannot even imagine. So that's, we can imagine, but we understand that it's so negative. And I think that's enough blabbering. Do I have anything else? Let's see. I do have things, but yeah, let's talk a bit about terminology. It's the ability to explain complex ideas into simple language. You take something that is very complex, or at least seems complex, and you basically make it much more attainable for people. You use metaphors, you use different kinds of analogies to make them better understand that terminology, and that will make you seem like an expert. Well, It will not only make you seem like an expert, you will be an expert because you understand that concept and you are able to translate it for people who are not at your expertise level, or even for people who are further along the way, but you have this ability to explain complex ideas and put words to people's experience. What other people are experiencing or other experts are experiencing, you are able to just go like, here, these are the words that explain exactly what you do. So yeah, that's this is the power of mind maps. You just branch out, see what you know, and then try to think. Mind maps are a way to just understand everything that you have in your mind and then use only develop at the edges where you don't have knowledge yet. You haven't understood that concept to its final conclusion. So that's how you get to quality thinking, to quality ideas and understanding of complex subjects. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.